Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I'm Marilyn Bradford, and I am joined, as always, on the Irreverent Therapists with Pam Houghteling. Hi, Pam.
Hello.
Happy June 12th. That's
Yes.
what it is. Yeah, okay. So today's show is called Your Universe or Their Universe. Have you noticed that when you get around certain people, you find yourself not being you, but like kind of being them? Do you see the world through their eyes and find yourself adopting their points of view? Do you lose you and what's true for you in favor for what they believe? Well, this is actually a capacity. It often works against you and me and all of us who can do this. I didn't realize that was a sentence. Never mind. I wrote it. Let's turn the tables and find ways to keep being true to us.
Yes. It's interesting because I can so speak to this right now.
Okay.
So I have two adult children. One's still in college, one's not. And much of the time over the past couple of years, I've lived alone because my daughter's been off at school. My son lived elsewhere, and she's home from college, and he's recently moved into my house after a long time of not living here. And I have to keep on top of their universe, my universe, right? It's much easier when I'm alone to have my reality and my universe, and living in close quarters with other people. It is easy to get caught up in them and their stuff and lose me. So you can use me as a case example.
Case number one, Pam Houghteling and family. I think what a lot of people don't actually get is that you're psychic.
Yeah.
We're not told that. In fact, we're pretty much told the opposite. Oh, that's just that malarkey kind of stuff. But the truth is, you have the capacity to tap into what other people are thinking, feeling, about to say, how they see the world, how they see relationships, how they see money, or whatever the topic is.
Yeah.
And when you tap into that, because nobody's ever told you how psychic you are, you go, oh, that must be me.
Yep.
Guess what? It's not you.
And for any of you out there who might be sitting there thinking, no, that's not, I'm not psychic. Have you ever, if you've had children, have you ever, or, taking care of, babysat, whatever, have you ever known an infant needed something before they started crying?
Oh, good question.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Or have you ever been in a great mood, feeling awesome about things, and either you walk in the door of your home or you walk in the door of your work and instantly you don't know what's going on, but something's going on because the tension is so thick.
And you think it's you.
And that's you being aware. That's you being aware of the energy of other people and what they have going on. Mm-hmm. But nothing teaches us that we have that as easily as we do any other talent or capacity that we have.
Well, and also what we tend to do, say you're walking down the street and you feel sad all of a sudden, and you've been in a good mood, you've been styling, and you're like, then what you tend to do is find a reason to attach to it.
From your life.
Yeah. I'm sad. It must be because Uncle Johnny's in the hospital, or Sally and Fred are getting a divorce. Oh, that's really a sad thing. And the more you find a reason and justification for it, the more you have to buy it as real and true for you. And then you go to this whole thing of, how can I get past my sadness, which isn't yours in the first place? So it makes it really crazy.
So as two people who have been therapists, maybe I shouldn't say this, but you can spend a lot of time in therapy trying to handle stuff that you're just aware of.
That's not yours.
It's not yours.
And you can't clear something that's not yours.
Yeah.
This is how therapists make money, actually. Spend months talking about the sadness that wasn't yours in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
So to me, one of the main tools of, well, actually, a tool is your universe, their universe.
Yes.
So if you find yourself around other people and you feel like you're getting sucked in to their trauma drama, their points of view, their way of viewing the world, a great tool is to really just in your head say, their universe, my universe,
Yes.
their universe, my universe, their universe, my universe, their universe, my universe.
Mm-hmm.
As I'm saying that, do you notice any more space and
Yes.
ease in your body, space of you, the being? And that's just from acknowledging that they have their universe
Mm-hmm.
and you can have yours.
Mm-hmm. Well, and this comes up in a lot of different places. It comes up in relationships, but before we talk about that, one of the things I've been playing around with is restaurants, because I love to eat out. And I've been noticing that when I walk into certain restaurants, and I go the whole gamut. I have a new favorite place that's just hole in the wall called Anthony's, and he serves the best fried catfish and fried okra to die for, which you don't generally find in New Mexico. Then he has a whole other side that's Chinese, which I love. He's a total humanoid who does Chinese and soul food together. But anyway, when you walk in there, that's a different clientele. And I don't mean to generalize, but it's people with, generally speaking, as I'm generalizing, less money, but they're aware of good food. And there's a certain energy about that place that they're all contributing to. And it's generally friendly. Hey, Anthony, he's this cool African-American guy from Oklahoma. And there's this kind of friendly, and we're all in here and nobody has to put on any airs or any image kind of things. Then there's another restaurant I go to, which is very high end. And it's unfortunate that it's my neighborhood restaurant because it's very high end, which means it's very pricey. I have to set myself an eating out budget, and I'm not very good at budgets. But you go in there and there's a completely different energy. You have a lot of people who are celebrating like an anniversary, and they really want this to be good. You have the husband. How do I make sure my wife has a good time?
So they have a lot of expectations.
They have a lot of expectations, which you don't get at Anthony's.
Yeah.
So, and that energy is palpable. And the servers there are they're very professional and friendly, and you can almost feel the persona that they're putting on. Not that they're not authentic, but they know. And I believe that a really great server is aware of the energy of the people that they're serving. So they're like, oh, these are picky people. Okay, how do
I have to be with these picky people?
How do I have to be with these people? Now they all know me now, so we talk about their latest trip or whatever's going on. And I almost always get a cocktail there, a particular cocktail. And so I'm also aware of their awareness of me. And it's kind of fun because you can end up playing around with these kinds of things.
Yeah.
And this is completely different than if you go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, how do you play with it? Because you said the whole your universe, their universe, these restaurants are a great place to play with that. So
Yes.
How do you go about it?
Well, I play by being aware of what's going on with other people. They're thinking about a problem at home. Okay. And sometimes if it's fun for me, I contribute energy. Not all the time, but sometimes. And it allows me, because I often eat out by myself, except I'm never eating out by myself because there are all these different universes. And it's kind of like, it's like people watching. Only the universe watching.
Right.
It's really entertaining. And if it's not, you can essentially shut it off. You don't have to go there. But I do that as just kind of entertainment. But you can use it to your advantage. Like if you're negotiating. I was talking to a woman today who had sold a house and was buying another house. And she was talking about how she just went into this woman, the seller's head, and asked, what price is she willing to accept? And she told the real estate agent, this is the price they're going to accept. And the real estate agent says, no way, no way, no way. She's like, okay. So they negotiate a little bit. And finally, my friend asked, so would you take this offer? Or actually, they said she offered something, they countered, and then they countered with the price that she knew they would take. And the real estate agent was like, how did you know that? She's like, I just knew it. And that's the thing. If you have a capacity, but you don't acknowledge it and you don't practice it and use it to your advantage, then it's just like kind of like overwhelmed. What do I do with all of this?
Or it's what you said in there where we use it against ourselves. Because if I'm aware of all these people and their universes, and I'm not willing to know that I'm aware and it's not mine, I'm just aware, then I'm at the effect of it all. I'm spending years in therapy trying to take care of that sadness that I picked up from other people, or the anxiety, or, whatever it is. I remember a story of one of my first access facilitators that I took a class with. He talked about, kind of in his, when you're in your young days and you do things like, all your friends are going somewhere and you're camping out in living rooms. And so it was that kind of situation. And he said that, like, for days he'd been stewing about his money situation and his bank account and his this and his that. And he woke up one morning and he realized that one of the people in the group had been talking nonstop about their financial worries.
Yes.
Because my facilitator was like, my bank balance is fine. Like, my money is fine. Why am I stewing and waking up thinking about this? Well, he was just very aware of this other man's universe.
Yes.
So what does that mean? The energy that he's functioning from, the energy of his thoughts, his feelings, his emotions, his stewing, his worry. And you pick up on that. And like Marilyn, you said before, you attach the details of your life to it. Right. So he attached his bank balance, his stuff, to that energy, to those emotions, but none of it was his. And as soon as he asked himself, oh, is this mine or someone else's? Mm-hmm. The whole thing lightened up. And so that's a tool you can use with this too, is just to ask yourself, who does this belong to? Whatever it is that's coming up for you, is it mine or someone else's? Mm-hmm. And if it lightens up at all, it's not yours.
Not yours. Hello. And if you don't think you have this capacity, take a look at in your childhood. Mm-hmm. Did you ever say something either like, oh, I just think Uncle Johnny's creepy? How can you say that? He's your uncle. Or, maybe you said, Aunt, you sure do drink a lot, even though you hadn't noticed. A friend of mine actually said that when the aunt came to visit. And so you got shut down basically and told you can't know that. That was my mother's big one. Well, you can't know that. Well, that's not true. And so you learned that either it wasn't true and you were mistaken, or that it was wrong to be aware of it. So you absolutely cut off your awareness. So everywhere you've cut off your awareness, would you please let that go? Destroy it.
Yes. Well, and that makes me think of, because I would say I grew up in a family of doers. Like my siblings, my parents were not people who would sit around and talk about feelings or energy or anything like that. They just do things. And one of my aunts was someone who was more of a beer. So when I'd go visit her, like, we'd go sit down by the stream under the trees. Mm-hmm. And be and notice things about nature and the energies of things. And so she was always someone that I could talk to about and have the acknowledgement of those capacities, right? Whereas so many people grow up with no one in their life who's able to acknowledge that they have the capacities, and then they don't. Nothing for most of us in how we're raised says anything about being aware of other people unless you're just being too sensitive,
Yes.
which is what you might hear a lot as well.
Yeah.
You're just being too sensitive. You need to toughen up.
Toughen up. That's it. Toughen up, girl. No, there was no one in my life that would acknowledge anything beyond the mind.
Yeah.
My dad was an academic, and we lived in a community of minds on legs. That was pretty much it.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything else. So it took me a little while to realize that I did have these capacities and I could acknowledge them.
And that's where you can use that whole your universe, my universe, your universe, my universe, your universe is, your parents had their universe.
Yeah.
That doesn't have to be yours. And you've done all kinds of things to find your own way.
Yes.
And your universe.
Yeah, exactly. And one other way to use this to your advantage is in your relationships. Because what happens, like and this is a stereotype, but husband comes home angry, wife gets angry because the husband's angry. But if she can really, or he can realize, wife comes home angry, really realize, wait a minute, whose universe is this? What's my universe? Oh, I'm space and peace. I think I'll just drop all my barriers.
Yeah.
It takes care of the whole situation, because if someone's angry and they get angry at you, if there's nothing for them to fight against, it just kind of dissipates it.
Yeah.
So the more you can claim your universe and be less reactive, while assuming that you're also angry and you have a good reason and justification for it.
And I'm going to stick with my anger and hold on to it until I prove I'm right.
Exactly. You can really create a lot of ease in your relationship. So it's a great tool to practice.
Well, and another way I think of just right now that's very relevant in the world is, I would say much of the world right now is freaking out financially.
Yes.
Right? Like a lot of people are going into, I better cut back and I better reduce and all this stuff. And if you can say their universe, my universe, or who does this belong to, you can be aware of things that are going on financially in the world and know where to invest your money, where to like you're not at the effect of everybody else's downslide and points of view and everything. You can actually see what's possible.
Yes. And you can choose to be different from the pack, basically. And you can even ask yourself, why am I having so much trouble? Well, do you want to belong? If you want to belong, you can fit in all those kinds of things. Have somebody to talk to about the horrible things that are going on in the world, all of that kind of stuff. If you want to get into trauma drama, that's just a choice, but you certainly don't have to do that. Now that you have this information, go forth and be in your universe, nobody else's.
Yes. So shall we call it a day?
We'll call it a day.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.